Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Insufficient Friends. I'm Kev and she's Nikki.
Hi.
And, Nick. It's been a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't talked to you in a while. You're moving, which is fun. It's
Yeah.
been it seems forever in the making.
A year and a half. It's fine.
No annoyance. I don't hear any annoyance in your voice there.
There's no semblance of annoyance in my tone at all whatsoever.
Congratulations on the move in the new house. That's fun.
Thanks.
But anyway, Nick, this week in history. What did we what do we have for this week in history? What's going on?
On November 9th, 1989. So
Okay.
there's always a list of like 20 things in here. I picked out two that I think you would find interesting, and maybe our listeners too, but mostly just you, because that's what this podcast is just us talking to each other. So on this day, November 9th, 1989, East Germany opened the Berlin Wall. So the East German officials opened the Berlin Wall, allowing travel from east to west Berlin.
Interesting.
And then the following day, they all began celebrating, tearing the wall down, but that was on this day.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Yes.
We have a piece of. I mean, there's pieces of it all over, but there's a piece of it just down the road in Fulton.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
At the Churchill Museum, which is interesting. So.
Yes, super interesting. So I thought you would like that one.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then the one that I liked the most was on November 9th, 1990. On this day, the federal government seized all assets of country singer Willie Nelson, freezing all his bank accounts and padlocking all his real estate holdings.
Is that because of the
tax debt? 16.7 million tax debt.
I figured it might have been because of the ganja, but sure, tax debt works too. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, I remember this was an episode of not American Dad. What is it called? Where the cartoon show where they're in Texas and it's Hank Hill and he's always like, that boy ain't right. What is that one?
Oh, that's King of the Hill.
Yes, King of the Hill. Okay, thank you. There was an episode of King of the Hill where Willie Nelson throws a party outside of his padlocked house, like on his lawn.
Yeah.
It's just funny. So, on this day in history, poor old Willie Nelson.
This isn't history, but this time of year, we're coming up on Thanksgiving, Christmas. You have all the holidays and stuff coming up, and I saw something the other day that intrigued me, because you always get companies that come out with weird things. And it's one of those that I wasn't sure what to think of, but Kraft has come out with the macaroni and cheese, like the box macaroni and cheese. That is, it is, I think it was apple crumble flavored, which
mac and cheese.
Yeah, I think that sounds very odd, and I don't really like the sound of it.
I mean, I love a good like croissant with apple with brie. Like that could be a good mixture, but when it's Kraft mac and cheese apple crumble, it's like
yeah. I don't know. I was intrigued.
I don't know if that's gonna be the same as like a high class apple brie croissant appetizer.
Well, yes, but I was intrigued because I'm always intrigued by these types of things.
Yeah,
kind of like a couple of years ago when they came out with when
the Cheeto or whatever.
French's. Well, I tried the Cheeto; those were not good. I tried the Cheeto mac and cheese, and I didn't think it was that good. But French's did French's did a collaboration with Skittles and came out with the mustard Skittles, which is just kind of a weird crossover.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to get them because I tried. You had to enter like a raffle to get them or whatever, and I couldn't get them because I was gonna have them on the
Mm.
podcast for me and Stevie to try at the time, and I didn't actually get any. So, but
Stevie
anyway,
would have hated you.
probably, but I wasn't gonna tell her. So she would have hated
Hmm.
me after we tried them, and then it would have been what it was. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, Nick, our topic for this week is, I hope I pronounced this correctly, the Cahokia Mounds. Is that correct? The
I
Cahokia.
think so.
I think
That's
that's how you
how I
say it.
heard it pronounced when I went there. And I
Yeah,
think you've been there too, right? You
I
said?
have. So this is a
Mm.
ancient
Native
civilization, Native
American.
American
Yeah.
civilization that was. I mean, I know it from being just across the border in Illinois from St.
Hmm.
Louis. It's like 20
Yep.
minutes in it, 10, 20 minutes inside of Illinois.
Yeah, right
Um,
across the Mississippi
yeah.
from St. Louis.
But it's like it's these kind of like temples that are just basically big piles of dirt.
Hmm.
Like
Mounds. That's why
really,
it's called Cahokia
yeah,
Mounds. Yeah.
really, really, really big piles of dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, like, now the historic site contains around 80 mounds. I mean, they're excavating, they're always doing projects. So that was the number I had written down, but written down like I do research. That's the number Wikipedia says. But I know because they were doing excavations even when I had gone to visit. So I know they're probably always excavating more. But that's what it is today. But back in, well, let me take a step back. So it started to be settled in 600 CE. I had to look up what CE meant because I'm used to people saying AD, but I guess it's the same thing. It's just the AD is the Anno Domini, and then CE is Common Era. So it's just the secular version of
Mm-hmm.
it,
Okay.
which was interesting to me.
Yeah.
We've probably talked about that and I probably just forgot. But anyway, so 600 CE to like 1400 to 1600 CE, because it kind of fell off, gradually, but so quite a while ago. So it lasted a long time and was massive. So today it's only like 80 mounds is like the state historic park, like 2,200 acres. But back then it was bigger than London.
Hmm.
So it was both sides of the Mississippi. Um, there was like even part of the walls and like what we now consider like East St. Louis. So it was like a massive civilization in its
Hmm.
height,
That's cool.
which is crazy
Yeah.
for like an ancient Native American civilization. Because when we think about history in the like history did not start in 1492 in our continent. Like, so this is such a good representation of how sophisticated, a lot of these places were in the United
Mm-hmm.
States. It's just fascinating. Um, so it was the largest and the most influential Native American settlement in the Mississippian culture. So the Mississippian culture, I had a map pulled up. I lost it, but it was basically like the middle of the United States. So you've got like the desert peoples and the tribes like out west, what we would consider like West United
Okay.
States now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I don't know if you've been to like the cave dwellings and things like that in
Nope.
Arizona, like, but those were massive cultures.
Okay.
And then on the east side, you've got a lot of Eastern cultures. So this was like north to south of what is now the United States and everything in the middle. So like all the states that are like the Midwest and some of the South now is kind of like the Mississippian culture.
Hmm.
It follows the Mississippi River.
Yeah.
So, but massive, massive culture. And this was the largest of all these cultures
Dang.
to, the
Yeah.
knowledge of the archaeologists and everything.
Okay.
Um, so the original name of this civilization is unknown. It was named the Cahokia Mounds in the 17th century by French explorers. So I don't even really know what the name comes from. Maybe there was like a tribe in the area, and so they just named it that. But that was in the 17th century when French explorers arrived and were kind of the first. I don't know if they would consider themselves archaeologists, but the first people to like discover and uncover this area.
The first colonizers to
So,
settle in the area.
yeah, I was trying to say it nicely, but I mean, there's no nice way to say it. But such a fascinating culture. So the actual mounds served multiple different purposes. The actual houses were like straw and grass houses, wood, like normal,
Mm-hmm.
what we would think of like Native American structures. The mounds would be either ritual sites, churches, markets. I think they served a lot of different purposes from what I can tell. Um, and life in Cahokia from everything that they've excavated is was really interesting. They found things that are from the agricultural work that they did in the area. So the men and boys hunted, fished, worked in the fields. And women would crop and gather plants too. But also they found so many like cultural communal activities and evidence of like I feel like rituals has a negative connotation, but like religious type activity, like
Mm-hmm.
gatherings and things like that.
Yeah.
Um, and there even was a large circle of posts, which I think people have nicknamed it Woodhinge, but it was basically just like a calendar to track like major festivals and things from what they can tell,
Hmm.
like a sun calendar.
Okay.
So,
That's cool.
yeah, I mean, it was very much like a very evolved society. They had massive trade routes, obviously with the Mississippi River. That's a crucial part of trading throughout what is now the United States. Um, yeah, just such an interesting culture. And then the decline is kind of debated. I mean, there's been lots of like theories posited. Among the top ones are like natural disasters like weather changing. I mean, that's a long span of time. That's several centuries. So weather, trading with other tribes. So it could be weather, political, I don't know. There's really not like a ton that's known for sure about why it declined. Could also be illness
Yeah.
from colonizers.
Settlers. Yeah.
So there's a ton of theories there, and it could be a combination of everything.
Yeah.
So it's not really like one specific thing that we know for sure caused this to decline and no longer be there. But there was, I guess, like after the decline, there were like some monks living there on the grounds, and then like
Hmm.
families bought property when it eventually became like Missouri and Illinois. And then eventually the archaeologists came in and like historians to go back and figure out what this place was.
Yeah. Interesting.
Mhm.
I
Yeah, but it's a state park now that is really cool.
Yeah. It is. You can like climb to the top of one of the biggest, largest mounds in
Hmm.
there, and like, they have like,
Kev is, you're very interested in our
yeah. I'm
topic.
sorry. They've got like plaques that you can read about what like the history and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
I just thought of this, and
Hmm.
because it intrigued me when you were talking about what could have wiped him out, and the first
Hmm.
thing that came to my mind is much more devastating than everything that you mentioned, and it
Hmm.
was just a tornado, just plowing through the whole thing and just killing everybody.
But I
Because
mean,
I
this was a massive, this was like a tornado is not going to ruin
no, I understand.
what was the equivalent of like two Londons
Oh,
at the
I understand.
time.
I understand.
So it could knock out like maybe a fourth of it, like do significant
Yeah,
damage. But I wouldn't think that would be like the culture ending
yeah,
thing.
I understand. I agree. I That's just what I thought of.
I mean,
And
it is Missouri and Illinois, so.
I also thought of like I wonder what people in that time would have thought of something like that. Like,
Hmm.
do they did they know? Like, were tornadoes as common back then? Like, is there
I don't know.
is there history of that? Is there like, um, because there is some like the cave drawings and stuff like that kind of document some history and things like that. I don't know if there's any, but is there any stories of
Yeah.
people talking about things like that are?
So I just looked it up, and Google says that the first documented, like in language on paper, tornado in the Americas was 1521. But before then, because of paintings and things, it looks like tornadoes did happen. And because you can find evidence in nature,
Mm-hmm.
scientists know how to do that. I
Yeah.
don't. But yeah, so it looks like it was very much just as common as
Okay.
nowadays.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know. Obviously, we know what causes tornadoes. Now, I don't know what they would think of them.
Yeah. Because like
But,
I can't imagine like what they would
hmm.
think of this massive thing coming at them that doesn't. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
It just be something interesting to think about.
I mean, my mind automatically goes to,
They would probably think
and
it's a.
people do this nowadays. Like, I'm not saying this was just cultures back then. But even nowadays, people think like natural disasters can be caused by a god or
Mhm.
something.
Oh, I'm sure they
And so
thought it was a
I'm,
god. Yeah.
yeah, and they were very much more in general in touch with the earth and
Yeah.
weather and
Nature.
everything like that. So I don't know how they would have interpreted it.
Yeah.
Because in some ways they were more advanced than us in terms of like being connected with nature. Like they weren't like iPad kids. So I don't know. Maybe if you're living in nature, you're more in tune with it, but I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I just wondered that. I just kind of thought of that when you were talking about like things that
Hmm.
could wipe them out. I just made me think of like what.
These are the things that kill me because I wish we could go back and ask like
Yeah.
just like one question.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
it's not just the it's any of them like any of the
Hmm.
those tribes or anything like that like
But then
or
again, if we went
not
back in
even
time and asked them, A, they wouldn't understand us. We wouldn't understand them.
yeah
They'd look at us like, who the F are these white people?
yeah or
So,
or like same thing but like tribes living in Mexico or Florida and asking them like what they think of a hurricane like something
hurricane.
like that
Hmm.
it's same concept just different ordeal
Yeah.
I just it just
Aliens.
that kind of stuff in yeah what do you guys think of aliens yes because we all know that aliens built all your shit so like what's
Mhm.
yes so
Like, hey, this painting you painted in this cave, that's an alien, but like, is it an alien? Like, I want to know.
yeah so um anyway uh yeah that's they're cool to go see because
Hmm.
they're you like you
And I
said they
didn't
are
look up if there's anything else. Like, I'm sure there are other places like this in the United States, but this happens to be somewhere we've both been because it's
mm-hmm
somewhat close to us,
yeah
but also the biggest culture in the Mississippi, area of
mm-hmm
like what's now the Midwest.
I didn't realize it was
But
the
I
biggest
have
culture in
been to,
Mississippi
have you
so
been to the cave? Kevin, I am blanking on literally every single word in the American language today. Um, Hold on, I gotta look it up. The cave, hold on. It's in Arizona. Cliff dwellings.
no I have not
Cliff dwellings.
mm-mm.
Okay. So they're in Arizona. It's the civilization that you've probably seen pictures of this and just haven't been there, but they built everything into the cliffs. Like it's
Mm.
so cool because they
Yeah
had this
I've seen pictures
massive
of it
civilization all in it's just so cool. So it's interesting to see the differences there and here
mm-hmm
just because of like the weather and
yeah
things and how they lived, but still like very words, Kevin, very
advanced
yes, advanced, refined civilizations with like massive trade routes. Like it's so interesting.
I'm yawning. You can't think of words.
I can't friggin' think.
We're doing great. We're doing great.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's the Cahokia Mounds. They're super interesting. If you're anywhere in the Midwest, it's so worth it to even just go out there for a couple hours, hike one of the mounds, read some of the signs, but they also have good information in like their little museum and things too. It's really interesting.
Yep. Yeah, it's fun, and it's like 20 minutes from the Arch. So if you're over there in that area, it's not. I don't think it costs anything either because it is like a state park. So it's just like you just drive
Yeah,
up
I
and
don't
go into
remember.
it. I don't really remember, but
Have to look that up. Don't take our word for it.
yeah, we are insufficient. So
Yeah.
I think it's time for facts.
Yeah.
Okay, Nick, go.
Okay, so I kind of already mentioned this, but at its peak, which was seemed to be around 1100 to 1200 AD, Cahokia was larger than London. So I kind of already mentioned that, but also they had a really interesting social hierarchy, and I talked a little bit about like how they would do religious ceremonies and things, but there are like mass burial sites, and other like I guess objects that they've excavated that proves that they did have a really intricate social hierarchy, which was one of the other theories I forgot to mention this that scientists or archaeologists or historians or whoever does the talking around these things posit as one of the theories of decline is that the social hierarchy like eventually like the French Revolution and things civilizations just get to a certain point where they collapse and rebuild, so something kind of similar to that. So I thought that was interesting.
Hmm, that is interesting. Um, so uh, you talked about. I didn't realize that they were the largest civilization in the Mississippi. Like, I don't really want to call it the Delta, but like the Mississippi region. We'll just
Yeah,
call
I'm
it
just gonna
that.
say Midwest
Yeah,
because that's kind
sure.
of what the map looked like.
We'll call it that.
Mhm.
But anyway, currently, we'll just talk. I'm just going to talk about generally in as far as Native Americans go. The U.S. recognizes 574 different Native American tribes
Hmm.
across the U.S. Now, what I think is interesting is that when they were like at their peak, like around the United States, like
Mhm.
back in before we were here, before colonization, uh, there was as many as 500 different languages spoken among Native Americans across the
Yeah, that's
country,
crazy.
which is amazing.
Hmm.
Um, I
Because like we have different dialects, and if I went down to Louisiana and met someone in the bayou, I probably can understand them. I know they're speaking English.
yeah,
But
that's
we don't have that many different like official languages.
no. There's only like a couple well in the US there's only a couple languages that people are going to be speaking.
Hmm.
You're probably going to be speaking one of
Well,
like
and I guess that's because of colonial settlers.
three or four
But
languages. So
yeah.
it's going to be it. But
Hmm.
yeah, the fact that there's I mean I don't 300 languages anyway around the world. There's
But when you
300
think about
languages,
it
a lot of
though,
languages.
they were, I'm sure, so of course they traded. I know that they had trading routes and um definitely were somewhat intertwined with each other. But if you think of now versus then, how we are so interconnected, um, if you were born in the same village, never left the village except to trade, very rarely, with someone who is neighboring you, it makes sense that they're all going to be their own individual thing, because you're not really, it's not like they were world travelers like we are now. Like they couldn't hop on a plane and go to Scotland when they wanted to.
Yeah.
So it does kind of make sense to where if you were born and raised and died in the same area.
You're much more isolated, yes.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, I get that.
It's still crazy though.
It just amazes me that there's 300 different languages. Like that seems like a lot to me. But but yeah. Anyway, I think that is it for this week, Nick. Thanks for listening. I'm turning and I don't know what's going on. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed this. This is wasn't good, but we hope you enjoyed it anyway. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and we'll talk to you next week.
Bye.